Indeed, thank you very much for joining us. And right about now, I want to take you to the news where Joseph Kuria Irungu alias Joey has been sentenced to death over the murder of businesswoman, that is Monica Kimani. High Court Judge Grace Nzioka said after in-depth analysis of the report of the probation officer, the homicide experts, the victim's family and the prosecution, Irungu was found culpable for the murder and deserves maximum sentence for the offense.
Set the record.
The knife for murder found guilty of Kimani is now state.
Joseph Kuria Irungu alias Joey. Shall suffer death as provided for the offense of murder under section 204 of the Penal Code of Kenya.
In a sentencing judgment trial, Judge Grace Nzioka said investigations linked Joey to Monica Kimani's murder.
The victim's family, in their submissions dated 7th of March, drew the court's attention to the sentence provided for the offense of murder, which sentence is stipulated under section 204, which says that a person convicted of the offense of murder shall suffer death. They led the court through the objectives of sentence, which I've spoken to and therefore will not repeat. And they invited the court to take cognizance of the fact that the accused person before the court did not play a peripheral role in the commission of the offense, but he was the main perpetrator.
She said the death was well planned and executed by a very well-trained person.
An understanding that the person was not an amateur, the person must have had some training. And remember, the evidence even revealed that after the offense was committed, the deceased was put in the bathtub and the shower tap was put over to run the blood off.
The court further decried the rise in femicide cases in the country. The trial judge noted Kimani's murder shattered dreams and left her family in agony.
She is said to have indicated that she does not understand what would cause anyone to brutally murder her only daughter, who was her confidant and a very close friend. It is reported that following the death of the victim and the deceased, she suffered prolonged depression and consequently suffered stroke.
Irungu was charged alongside former TV broadcaster Jackie Maribe, who was acquitted during a judgment delivered on 9 February 2024. He has a right to appeal the sentence within 14 days. After 6 years of a legal murder battle in the murder of businesswoman Monica Kimani, Justice Grace Nzioka has handed the 33-year-old Joseph Irungu a death penalty in the offense. All eyes are now set on the president to see if he will pen his signature to okay his hanging.
Thank you, Ruth Wamboy, for that report. Definitely it's a story that we will be keeping tabs on and we'll be keeping you abreast on what will be happening going forward. Now, Kenyans may have to seek medical services from private hospitals after the Kenya Medical Practitioners, Pharmacists and Dentists Union announced the commencement of a nationwide strike starting midnight, the 14th of March 2024. Addressing media at the KMPDU offices, the Union Secretary General W. Teller said the move is a result of failed talks with the Ministry of Health. Members of Parliament allied to Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition, led by Minority Leader, that is Opiyo Wandayi, have called for the resignation of Health Cabinet Secretary Susan Nakumicha. Kasichana Masha with more details.
Promised that we are going to give a 7-day strike notice.
On March 6, 2024, the Kenya Medical Practitioners, Pharmacists and Dentists Union issued a strike notice demanding the deployment of at least 1,200 medical interns, among other grievances. After a series of unfruitful dialogue with the government, the union now maintains that its members will down their tools as of midnight March 13, 2024.
When the clock ticks midnight,
well, let's move on. We'll probably bring you that story in just a short moment. We apologize for that technical hitch. Now, the government plans to complete setting up the National Addressing System, installation of free public Wi-Fi, digitization of government services, and the strengthening of data protection laws under the new launched Strategic Plan 2023-27 by the Ministry of Information, Communications and the Digital Economy. The state also targets to create 3.5 million jobs for young people by 2027 through e-commerce and startups.
During the implementation of the previous Strategic Plan 2018-2022, the ministry faced several challenges that hindered the plan's implementation, including inadequate funding, low literacy levels, and slow adoption of technologies, cyber threats and attacks, and the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, the Ministry of ICT says the challenges and lessons learned have informed the 5th Strategic Plan 2023-2027.
Because we operate in an environment which is dynamic, where there are so many factors in play, it is important that we come up with a strategic plan to enable us get a strategic fit or proper positioning in that operational environment with a view to realizing our goals.
We are committed to ensure these are actually realized and taking advantage of other instruments we already have in place, the Kenya Digital Master Plan 2022 to 2032, Digital Blueprint Economy, the Digital Economy Blueprint, the National ICT Policy of 2019, among many others.
Speaking during the launch of the strategic plan, ICT Cabinet Secretary Eliud Owalo said the ministry will collaborate with all relevant stakeholders to finance and ensure successful implementation of identified programs, projects, policies, and legal and institutional reforms.
We must revitalize KBC, Posta, and KNA. And these are irreducible minimums. They are not negotiable. Yeah? We have signed performance contracts to deliver this. And that performance contracting framework must be cascaded downwards up to the individual scorecard.
We cannot keep here talking about revamping Posta, but we have no strategy. Do you know how much money goes into advertisement? And the KBC gets zero. Even the regulations are set. They are set to make sure KBC gets nothing.
Broadcasting Principal Secretary Professor Edward Kisiangani pointed to the need to realign national institutions with the plan while safeguarding national assets and institutions such as the Kenya Broadcasting Corporation, Postal Corporation of Kenya, and the Kenya News Agency.
We cannot achieve these objectives when some people with business interests in private sector capture the state and want to destroy our national institutions.
Under the 2023-2027 medium-term period, the government will provide an enabling business environment to enhance access to information and digitally enable startups and investments.
You will soon be able to access cheaper, locally manufactured anti-venom after the Ministry of Health inked a deal with the African Snake Alliance for local manufacture of anti-venom and to treat snake bites. Now, Public Health Principal Secretary Mary Muthoni says the ministry has pledged 2 billion shillings towards research under the initiative in a move aimed at supplying the anti-venom across the African continent, easing over-reliance on costlier imports from Europe and India.
Statistics indicate that on average, more than 20,000 people are bitten by snakes annually.
She's requesting for assistance so that she can be able to take care of her needs. And she's requesting for access of medication at Kitui County.
4,000 succumb to the venomous snake bites, while 7,000 end up paralyzed or get other health complications.
You might find somebody who's been bitten by a snake, and if your life is cut, you'll be told it's witchcraft. And this can happen in Africa. Therefore, equally collaborative efforts simply to ensure that this knowledge passes to the common person, the common mwananchi, at the bottom of the pyramid, for people to really know how to stay safe. And equally, what do you do should this happen?
Kenya has been importing anti-venom in bulk from Europe and India. However, it has emerged that 50% of the imports are not effective.
Whether it is to prove concepts, whether it is to advance science, whether it is to come up with the new innovations, we are available because we know that the kind of interventions that are available to us today, we really need to improve them.
Currently, anti-venom drugs retail for between 10,000 to 15,000 shillings per vial.
In Kenya, we also spent over $1 billion Kenya shillings importing that antivenom, whose efficacy rates are not very high. In addition to that, the Ministry of Wildlife and Kenya Wildlife Services, they spend over $2 billion every year compensating victims of snake bite. And we can actually avoid this by coming up with these local solutions.
A patient bitten by a venomous snake can require up to 5 vials, making treatment inaccessible. The launch of the Africa Snake Alliance is expected to foster local manufacturing under the Kenya Institute of Primate Research.
We're trying to look for a way using science, because being a research institution, our mandate is to use science to address human health problems. So we want to use science and come up with an antidote that will work for all the snakes.
The first batch will be commercially available in the next 9 months. Regina Manyara reporting for KBC Channel 1.
Away from that, Treasury Cabinet Secretary Professor Njuguna Ndung'u is on the spot for delaying disbursement of road maintenance monies. Members of the National Assembly expressed their disappointment with the Treasury for attempting to usurp parliamentary powers to appropriate funds.
What is it that is stopping the National Treasury from releasing funds towards public participation budgeted works in the State Department of Roads? And this is an issue that concerns every member here. This House remains an independent institution. Yes. We are not beholden to anybody, any other authority. We only defer to the Speaker when in this House. And once we make a decision such as passing an appropriation bill, which then becomes an appropriation act, and money continues to be collected by KRA, the money must be disbursed.
We have so many roads that have remained undone. We have money that was appropriated even in previous parliaments. We have pending bills that have remained unpaid so that those contractors can complete some of those projects, Honorable Speaker.
The big issue here is Parliament taking its place, its rightful place in budgeting. No other house, no other institution, no other entity has the role of appropriating monies in the budget.
There is no money which has been sent to that. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, it's important. Let the CS in charge of finance be called to order by this House and let him live up to the role that he was given so that he can get us the money in our various constituencies.
I will pick up the issue on the actual public participation money other than the others that members are aware of, part of which is an issue that was addressed here by the Cabinet Secretary for Roads when he appeared here.
The Cabinet has endorsed measures the government has taken in the fight against illegal brew and narcotic drugs. The measures announced by the Interior Ministry include a 21-day suspension of all the 52 licenses and permits issued to manufacturers and distillers of second-hand generation alcohol and revocation of all bar licenses issued to counties against the law. The Ministry of Health has also been directed to prepare a framework for rehabilitation wards for alcohol and drug addicts in all level 5 hospitals.
Other measures put in place to deal with illicit liquor are nationwide crackdowns on the sale, transportation, distribution and consumption of the product and narcotic drugs, as well as an audit of conflict of interest within the ranks of enforcement agencies. At a meeting chaired by President William Ruto, the Cabinet concluded that the violation or resistance against the measures would amount to the violation of Chapter 6 of the Constitution and the laws on conflict of interest. The Cabinet was informed that since the Interior Ministry started implementing these measures, 5,835 raids on illicit and narcotic premises have been conducted, 289,390 litres of illicit brew and 13,198 litres of counterfeit alcohol have been netted. Additionally, 7 vessels for trafficking drugs, 3,603 rolls of bang, and 44 stones have been seized. The crackdown has also seen 2,393 non-compliant premises, 359 pharmacies and chemists, and 452 agrovets closed. Noting the increased cases of addiction to alcohol and drugs, the Cabinet directed the Ministry of Health to work closely with county governments and ensure each county has a rehabilitation centre. The Cabinet directed that an interministerial committee be established to address the invasion of the Prosopis duliflora tree, commonly known as madenge. The tree has led to loss of grazing lands, farming lands and wetlands in 22 counties.
Well, that's Nancy Okwara reporting there. We head to business now, where the government should fast-track implementation of the National Automotive Policy to fuel growth in the local assembly. This is according to Isuzu East Africa Managing Director Rita Kavashe, who made the remarks during the launch of the Cooperative Bank Asset Financing Scheme for schools and businesses.
The National Automotive Policy, which had been pending since 2018, was approved by the then Ministry of Industrialization in 2022, opening business opportunities for the local automotive industry by gradually reducing and eventually eliminating the importation of used vehicles. However, the implementation of the policy has faced delays, with Isuzu East Africa Managing Director Rita Kavashe, who chairs the Kenya Motor Industry Association, calling for implementation of the policy.
But just the fact that there is an auto policy, already new investors who are waiting for stability in the auto sectors have begun to show up themselves. So yes, we have to stay on course if we are truly going to grow this important enabler of our economy, that is the auto industry.
Kavashe was speaking during the launch of an asset financing scheme for schools and businesses by Isuzu East Africa, Cooperative Bank and CIC Insurance.
Our value proposition through this partnership, we will offer financing tenor extension to 6 years, that is 72 months, to give the much needed relief as a result of the recently escalated prices due to increased cost of importation.
The tough economic times have resulted in schools and businesses facing challenges in raising capital to fund capital projects.
Tumesema tusaidie mwananchi wakati hii kuna hukumu kubwa ya kifedha, na kwa hivyo tunaona ni vizuri tuendelee namna hiyo. Asante.
And Kenyans have been urged to utilize online financial literacy tools to assess their financial health and evaluate their debt-to-income ratio in order to be responsible borrowers. Financial services provider Mogo says during tough times, it is important to ensure you do not fall into a vicious debt cycle. Mogo has reduced monthly payments for both its car financing and logbook loans aimed at assisting Kenyans in navigating difficult economic times.
Financial services provider Mogo has eliminated application and processing fees for car financing loans and abolished application fees for logbook loans. This has led to the reduction of car financing monthly payments by 30%, while logbook loans payments will see a reduction of 5%.
We have removed our processing fees and application fees for car financing and logbook loans, and as a result, we have made our car financing loans 30% cheaper, and our logbook loans are now 5% cheaper. So our customers will be able to pay less and be able to access the finances they need.
The reductions aim to alleviate financial burdens for Kenyans by enabling them to comfortably address various goals and needs, such as injecting more capital into their businesses, paying school fees, covering medical bills, renovating houses, or undertaking construction projects, among others.
We address concerns of customers who might experience difficulties during their loan term, especially due to the economic times or unforeseen circumstances. By doing our case-by-case analysis, we reach out to them to discuss their financial situation and also talk to them about the available options that they can use to be able to continue paying for their loan and ease whatever financial pressure that they are experiencing at that point in time.
The firm says it leverages artificial intelligence technology to swiftly assess customers' creditworthiness to ensure favorable loan terms and amounts.
To sports now, where the government will unveil the Kenya Rally School that was founded to train young rally drivers to join the elite during the shakedown of this year's WRC Safari Rally Kenya. This was revealed yesterday during a sponsorship boost by CFAO Motors towards the WRC Safari Rally Kenya, which will be held from the 28th to the 31st of this month and will be the third leg of the season after Monte Carlo and Sweden.
The Kenyan government, through the Ministry of Sport, is working towards training young rally drivers to become elite drivers who will be competing at the highest level internationally. And on the 27th of this month, during the WRC Safari Rally Kenya Shakedown, the rally school will be officially unveiled.
We are engaged in very robust conversation around our new legacy project, the Talanta Rallying School, which really is our way of consolidating the rallying space by providing an opportunity to young Kenyans to become elite rally drivers through a very deliberate, intentional and structured program to train rally drivers here in a formal school.
The Rally School is one of the Kenyan government projects that aims at making sports a mega industry of employment.
It was a great thing, seeing different sports just getting together and, bringing the fans of motorsport to athletics and athletics to motorsport. For me, that's a huge thing, and I'm hoping that we can continue doing that even in different sports. For me, it's all about brand building, and you can always build brands in different things.
With his full focus on making these projects a success, Cabinet Secretary for Sports Ababu Namwamba has guaranteed that under his watch, the growth of all sporting disciplines will not be hampered.
One of the reasons why sport has not enjoyed sufficient corporate partnership in this country has been questions around transparency, around accountability, around good governance, and just making sure that we run our sports well. We are determined to clear any doubts about the questions of accountability, transparency and good governance.
CFAO Motors has boosted the 2024 Safari Rally Kenya with 30 million shillings ahead of the third leg of the season that gets underway on the 28th of this month, while handing over a Toyota double cabin to African record holder Ferdinand Omanyala, who will be CFAO's Moto Kenya brand ambassador. The 2024 WRC season began in Monte Carlo from the 24th to 28th of January before heading to Sweden for the second leg that was held from the 15th to 18th of February. After WRC Safari Rally Kenya, drivers will head to Croatia for the fourth leg to be held from the 18th to 21st of April, while the season ends in November with Rally Japan.
Well, that story by Barclay Feather brings us to the end of the news this morning. Thank you so much for your company. I'm Marie Yambo, Victor, together, I beg your pardon, not Victor, but Mike, Vivian, and DJ Unique are on standby to take you through the rest of the show. See you again next week.